Time it did hit near the 90s. I remember a fuck near died that time. Man, that was a rough trip. We pooped out like halfway through it.
Make sure Scott has his fucking drapers on.
Yeah. Oh, my terrorist outfit? Yeah. Oh. I'm surprised you never picked up one of those Saudi Arabian style headscarves. Yeah. Well, they use them in the sandbox all the time, huh? I've seen Navy SEALs and shit wearing them. I figured you'd have one of those. All right, Mike.
All right.
Yep.
God, nobody survived in that movie.
Well, the kid did. Neeson's kid. And his grandkids and his wife, kid's wife and shit.
At least I got to meet Grandpa. Now they'll be in therapy.
Yeah. $190,475 miles.
What was on it last time you filmed it?
I don't remember.
180 something.
Maybe. No, not that. You haven't put 10,000 miles on it in 2 weeks.
Now I'm going to be putting more on it because I'm taking this car back down to Florida.
What?
I'm going back down in this car.
I mean, when are you going down?
I will find that out very short. It's going to be May. It's I don't know the date. She's flexible. She said she didn't say, but I told her, you know, I'm counting on Memorial Day weekend, so, you know, either I'd like to be home for that, either in between or after it. So she'll let me know, but she said, like, in the next couple of 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay, let me know. I got my cousin's baby shower. There's Rhinebeck, which I'm not missing. So I gotta, like, you know, she doesn't have, she's not gonna set, she's gonna let me set the date. So I said I'll let her know, but it was kind of like, you know, sometime in May, even at the end of May. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think I have a date for her because I got a. Talked to my mom and she's all like, how's your weather up there? I said, very nice. I said, what do you got down there? She said, it's awful. It's 85. It could be 90 during. I said, well, yeah.
It's Florida.
Yeah.
South Florida especially. You're in the fucking tropics.
If you're in the middle, there's no breeze, whereas they're on the coast, so you got to drop off 5, you know, maybe 5 or 7 degrees, depending. You can get the cool air a little bit, but when you're in the middle, you know, Orlando, that's you got to add, like they say, just add 8 or 9. Ooh, God, add 8 or 9 degrees.
Steaming hot. The deepest of the deep south.
Got the south, and then there's the deep south.
Yeah.
That's really actually Louisiana, parts of LA.
Yeah. L.A. Oh.
Yep, that is an official term down there.
Yeah.
I learned that when I was in the Navy. My first few years in.
L.A. is more hot and dry. Well, Louisiana is more wet and hot.
Well, actually, LA stands for Lower Alabama.
I know.
That's
Anywhere in the deep south is wet and hot.
yes.
Anywhere in the
Gulfport,
southwest is hot and dry.
The nastiest was Gulfport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard of
humid and big ass fucking black palmetto bugs. Senior chief said if you wake up in the morning and your boots are gone, your buddy fucked you. But if one of them is gone, the palmetto bug carried it off. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a cracked fucking light on, and guess what I saw?
Bugs.
A line of them coming from one crack and going up near the molding like sideways. And I
They're harmless. Yeah, they don't hurt.
no, it didn't really bother me actually. And they said just don't fuck with them. They ain't gonna mess with you really. And I moved rooms though, and then I was fine after that. I was in that room for about a week and a half. I said, we change rooms, and then the guy at the BEQ said, got the one with the I go, yeah. So we'll put you in another room. So thank you. What if you're laying there and then things fall on you? I mean,
They're not gonna hurt you.
I know, but still, they're bigger than cockroaches.
Yeah, they are, but they're harmless. They don't bite. They don't sting. They don't do anything.
No.
There are far worse creatures like scorpions down there that do all those things. So.
Brown recluse. They're telling
Yeah.
you about. Watch out for the brown.
The deadly spiders that poisonous snakes.
They said if you think you got bit by a brown recluse, I said you can run right into medical and tell them. Ay, ay, ay.
Hell with that.
The eye opener was when we went to Australia, specifically
Yeah, that's
Hobart, specifically the island of Hobart, and they said they have an indigenous ant that is the nastiest of the nastiest.
Yes.
And they said if one of them, then they will all. You'll be dead within like. They say that's like the worst way to go. So they said watch out for those. We're like, God damn.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit in Australia that'll kill you in spectacular ways, or very quickly. All kinds of deadly snakes and shit. Just.
Yeah, it was like out of Indiana Jones there, and they weren't too far off because they were showing like actual videos of, don't fuck with the anthill and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere has its dangerous flora and fauna, but some places are worse than others. The Amazon jungle, for instance.
Get carried away by the ants.
Yeah. Jungles always have deadly shit. They always do. Doesn't matter what part of the world. You could be in Burma, Vietnam, South America, the Amazon, whatever. You're in the jungle, they got deadly shit. Africa. Gigantic monster snakes that'll squeeze the life out of you while you're sleeping and eat you whole. And the little itty bitty spiders that have one bite and take 2 steps and drop.
Who was that army guy that was playing with the green snake?
Oh, that was a story I read in a book about stories of Vietnam. That guy was telling his story. And
Well, look at my pet.
yeah, he was like in country 1 or 2 days. They stopped for a brief rest somewhere in the fucking day. He sees a cool green snake. He's playing with it. Whenever anybody gets him to go, he puts it in his pocket. And, all day. And the day goes by. He sits down to get another rest. He takes it out. He's playing with the snake. The sergeant happens to walk by. Caught one glimpse of that. Just about went fucking shit fit. The fuck are you think you're doing? Blah, 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 blah. Get up. Drop that fucking thing. Are you fucking crazy? Because it's called a 2-step. If it bites you, you take 2 steps and drop.
God.
One of the deadliest fucking snakes in Vietnam. I don't know what kind of little viper it was, but apparently it wasn't in a biting mood, I guess.
They got something in the Philippines there. It's like a green.
They got lots of shit in the Philippines like that.
Yeah, I tell you, the green snakes.
And probably the very same snake. Again, jungle,
You got to worry about the VC getting you.
No, not when you're playing with deadly snakes, no.
God.
None of the rules about shaking out your boots and shit because the scorpions like to nest in there at night, you know. I'd be doing a lot more than shaking out. We won't be jamming sticks and shit down in there and starting around, you know.
Out of the 58,000 that we lost, did we lose to shit like that, you think?
I don't know if that's even broken down, but I'm sure probably some.
A lot of accidents, just like right there on base.
Yeah, accidents happen. Anytime you have a large concentrations of military troops around, you're going to have accidents of some kind. It's going to happen. Just like any other large concentration of people. You know, people are going to have car accidents. They're going to fall downstairs. They're going to slip in the bathtub and break their necks. You know, accidental weapons discharges. They're going to fall off cliffs and shit. You know, it just happens.
I talked to the vets up there. I hear some of the Vietnam vets. Sometimes I talk to them.
Yeah.
They tell me shit. This guy died. That guy died. Or, you know, when they didn't get shot, it was all accidents.
Yeah. Plane crashes, helicopter crashes, Jeep crashes, truck crashes.
That's what I'm saying.
And of course, plenty were killed by the enemy too.
Hell of a way to go, and you don't know what the hell bit you, and all of a sudden you're laying there.
Yeah. And worst of all, you're in a shitty little fucking country where everybody fucking hates you. And the people back home hate you because you're over there and they think you're losing on purpose. You know, your own country doesn't, your own population doesn't support you being there. As the Vietnam War ground on and on, more and more of the regular American population turned against the troops. They blamed the war on the fucking troops. Instead of blaming it on the fucking politicians who sent them there.
Well, we said they had it the worst.
Yes, they did.
Denied benefits, denied recognition, medals, and compensation from the VA. The VA sucked during those years.
Yeah.
Oh God! I mean, it was like, oh.
Yeah. They drafted your ass. They sent you to boot. They sent you over there for 13 fucking months. You come home, you get spit on, called the baby fucking killer, everything else by your own generation. Oh, you should have run to Canada. Really? Really? Run to Canada. Is that an option for everybody? I don't think so. Do you really want to abandon your whole family and never see them again? 'Cause that's what's going to happen. You go across that fucking border in 1968, you cannot come back. You know? And what's your family going to think about that? What are your friends? You're never going to see your friends again either. You're never going to see anywhere that was familiar to you ever again. You're abandoning your citizenship, abandoning your country to hide in a foreign country. You're never going to have a decent fucking job. You're never going to have any hope of a higher education, really, or anything like that. All gone because you decided to run instead of go.
How many ran do you think?
Oh, a lot of them. A lot of people did, sure. Thousands and thousands ran. Draft evasion? I mean, it was decriminalized under either Ford or Carter, I forget. Yeah, forgiven, but in the 1960s, you ran to Canada, you gave up everything.
So what happened like 10, 15 years later? Did you?
Some came home, some stayed in Canada. I mean, yeah, you lived, you didn't get killed in Vietnam, but you know what? What kind of a life do you have?
Yeah.
At that point, you know, the rest of your generation has progressed while you are still stuck in place. You didn't get a chance to do anything with yourself. And one day you got to answer the awkward questions. You know? Because the generations that came after the baby boomers did not have the same attitudes about military service that the boomers had. So all those draft evaders and dodgers and shit, now they got to sit down and tell their kids and try to explain to them why they ran instead of served. And especially since some of those very kids might be in the military themselves. Because in the 1980s, it was a whole different picture. And the 90s too, and especially after 9/11 and shit. Gee, Grandpa, how come you ran away?
Yeah.
Uncle so-and-so served in Vietnam, how come you didn't? You know, that kind of thing.
This family member was in World War II. This guy was in Korea. Where were you?
Yeah.
This distant relative was there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were probably some that didn't have much to lose. Maybe they were from the ghettos or whatever, and they didn't have much of a life. But if you had any kind of a life, you were from a good middle-class family with an education ahead of you and promise of a good job and a good future, running really wasn't an option. Or if you were married. You know, back then, it wasn't uncommon for a lot of boomers to marry when they were 18, 19, 20 years old. So here they drafted, they got a wife and kids. What are you going to do with them? You know, you can't just pick that up and run away. So it was a hell of a fucking thing they had to deal, a lot of shit they had to deal with.
I wonder how many skipped.
Oh, that statistic is known. I don't personally know it, but I do know the number is known. That's not a mystery. Burned their draft cards and ran. But then you're also facing the fact this was an extremely unpopular war, at least after 1967 or so. Before that, a lot of the American population did support the war. 1965, 66, you know, the average American thought it was probably a good idea we were intervening there against communism, blah, blah, blah. But by 67, and especially after the terrible...
69, yeah.
68 was the fucking worst year. After 68, forget it. The American population turned against the war.
That's when they were doing all the protesting.
On all
colleges.
fucking... Yeah, it wasn't just the college kids anymore. Now it's, you know, middle-aged people, older people, even World War II veterans, and, you know, saying, okay, this has gone on far enough. This is a fucking waste of lives and time. We're not getting anywhere. We're not doing anything. It's time to get out.
What was the height of the protesting? 71, 72?
Yeah, the early Nixon era. Between 1967 and 1971. LBJ, I don't know for sure that he was either hoodwinked into that war with the Tonkin Gulf incident bullshit, or if he really thought getting involved was a good idea and pushed for it. I don't know. You know, but he definitely paid a price for it in the end. It cost him a second presidential administration, because there's no way in hell he was going to be able to win after 68, and it cost him everything. I mean, they would stand outside the fucking White House and chant over and over again, hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?
Yeah.
You know, over and over. He could hear it. He could hear it inside clear as day. And they said sometimes he'd be crying and shit.
Damn.
You know, he just, in the end, couldn't take it. Well, you know, Harry Truman said it, the buck stops here. He's the one that escalated the war. Yeah, he took the advice of other people to do it. You know, this is the advice he was given, and he listened to it, and he went with it.
I thought Ike was telling Kennedy not to go in there.
And Kennedy had no plans to involve us anymore in Vietnam. He did not want to be involved in that mess. And had he lived, I'm sure his administration would not have gotten us. After Bay of Pigs, Kennedy was very, very leery of military incursions in foreign countries like that, especially with the CIA pushing him. Because the CIA pushed him into Bay of Pigs, and it was a fucking disaster. An embarrassing fucking disaster. I mean, that's something he inherited from the Eisenhower administration. And he didn't want to get involved in anything like that. He wanted to pull out of those fucking places. But once Johnson got in there, Johnson had a whole different style of leadership, a whole different philosophy of it, and he went for it. And the military pushed for it, the CIA pushed for it, he went for it. And Dick Nixon inherited it from LBJ, and it took him 5 years to get us the fuck out of there. More than that, even.
Well, what did Nixon do? Start bombing the North?
Well, yes. In the end, he resorted to massive... Well, for one thing, he sent us into Cambodia after, you know, the Ho Chi Minh Trail and shit, and then the bombing campaigns. There were more than one.
Yeah, Linebacker 1, Linebacker 2.
Yes.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah. And in the end, you know, he got them to the peace table. An agreement that was never going to hold was signed. The South Vietnamese were given assurances we would back them up in case the North ever did cross the borders again. But by the time that happened, Dick Nixon was out of office because of Watergate. Jerry Ford was in there, and Ford was not getting us back into Vietnam again. He didn't care what happened over there. There was just no way in hell he was ordering U.S. aircraft and troops into Vietnam again. That era, as far as he was concerned, was over. It was time to turn the page. And April 1975, the whole country got to watch the North Vietnamese marching into Saigon and everything else, into the U.S. Embassy complex, and all that shit. And now we do normal business with Vietnam. We have tourist packages, vacations over there. And this very car is probably rolling on tires that were made in Vietnam. My shoes that were using a yard. I looked at it. The Caterpillar. I looked at them the other day. It said made in Vietnam. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So 58,000 Americans died for what? That is the question. Did it really make a difference? Did it really stop world communism from spreading? Probably not. World communism was withering on the vine already.
Police action. How do they?
Well, it was not either one of them. We were assisting an ally under the auspices of the United Nations, like we were in Korea. So it's a whole different type of thing. It's not really a war.
The Korean conflict is what
yes. It's called the Vietnam War, but in reality, it really wasn't. Because we were in a foreign country, guests of a foreign government, assisting a foreign military. We were shouldering a lot of the burden for most of it, but it still fact remained that the South Vietnamese did have a military, and they were the ones who were supposed to be primarily in charge.
But according to the U.S. military, we were at war.
Yep.
You know, because you had the National Defense Medal, and we're at war.
Well, yes, so because there was combat going on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. People were being shot at and killed.
The textbook definition is you got World War I, World War II.
But the problem is those were wars declared by Congress. Congress approved the funding to increase aid to Vietnam after the Tonkin Gulf incident. Almost, I think there were only 2 holdouts in the whole of the Congress, but they did not declare war on North Vietnam. At no time did we do that. We declared war. We did not declare war even on Hitler's Germany. We declared war on Japan after Pearl Harbor. We accepted war with Germany after Hitler declared war on us. One of his more insane moves that had to be fueled by meth. You know, his meth use. But, I mean, why would you take on a war with the United States? You didn't have to. He gave Roosevelt the best possible present he could give him on a silver platter. And in the First World War, we did declare war on Germany. We declared war on Spain in 1898. Now, those were declared wars. Congress elected to go to war with the approval of the president and everything else. Korea, that was under the auspices of the UN. We're fulfilling our UN obligations like many other countries that were. We were not alone in Korea. You know, everybody was over there.
Yeah,
Canadians, Turks, everybody.
Greece.
British, French, yeah, oh yeah. And in Vietnam, we were not alone there either.
Well, France was in there first, right?
Well, it was a French colony in Indochina at the time. Once they were beaten out of there after Dien Bien Phu in 1954.
And they said, don't go in there, you're going to lose and lose huge.
Yeah. Eisenhower gave, you know, lackluster fucking support to the South Vietnamese government for a while. You know, obsolete equipment, whatever we had, shit like that. Just to say we were taking a stand. He had to take some kind of stand against communism. But we failed to understand who and what the North Vietnamese were. They were always considered a satellite of either China or Russia, when in fact they were neither. The North Vietnamese government was a standalone government. They were accepting aid from China and Russia, but they were not taking orders from either of those countries.
Fox.
Yep, Foxy Fox. You know, they didn't take orders from Beijing or Moscow, much to the disgust of Beijing and Moscow. And in fact, they ended up at war with China after 1975. Briefly. So we really didn't understand the structure of what was going on very well. It was mostly advisors we had over there, that kind of thing. But there were Australians serving in Vietnam. There were, Republic of Korea was over there. They were extremely feared soldiers over there because they had a hatred of the communists. That was really something to see, I'm told. some of what they did could be termed getting medieval on the fucking AC, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know how many French troops are still serving there after Vietnam was declared as an independent country, which I believe was 1956, around there, and split in two.
What do you think Trump's going to do if he gets in? You going to take care of ISIS, or is he going to? Because I know it's going to happen if Hillary gets in. All is forgiven and nothing's there. All, you know.
You're not going to see earth-shaking change if Trump gets in there. I believe he will try. He will at least try. I believe he will be able to get along with the Russians better than the current idiot does.
Yeah.
And maybe that would lead to some kind of cooperation better cooperation against ISIS. Yeah. But it has to be remembered that the Congress is not going to be owned by Donald Trump. You know, that's going to be the way it is now. The same people are going to be there. So you're not going to have carte blanche, you know. Presidential power only goes so far. The purse strings are controlled by Congress. And they do have the power to outvote presidential orders and shit like that. They can do that. So in the Supreme Court. So you're not going to see any kind of monumental change, but you will at least see a different attitude.
Because what I'm hearing now is the military advisors, they're not, Obama's not letting them do what we need to do.
No, they're not.
Because he's one of them. Oh, God. Dying to find out what's going to happen in November.
Let's see. I'll be very surprised if he's elected, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah. People do not like any kind of real change. They're afraid of it. They want to maintain the status quo because they feel safe in it. They don't think about the future. And then you have the entitlement crowd that will overwhelmingly go for Hillary Clinton because she's going to promise them the same bullshit Barack Obama did.
Mm-hmm.
2 chickens in every pot, and, we're going to take care of your welfare, everything else, your Section 8.
Nope.
Again, those who work for a living are outnumbered now by those who vote for a living. That's what it is. Trump scares people because of that. He says he's more apt to speak out about things the way they are without sugarcoating it too much. People don't like that.
But then a lot of people, though, are kind of, they know he ain't lying. And he's going to say what he does.
People are being told that we are going to enter a vicious war with a vicious enemy. It's going to be bad. This shit is going to happen. It's already happening in our own country.
We're already at war.
So they don't want to hear that. They want to hear everything's going to be fine. You can go to the mall. You can go shopping. Everything's good. And it's not
well, he said, I live with this. She's like, well, I blame all the Bush administration for the Middle East. And I go, yeah. You ought to hear her. And then Reagan was the worst president. And then Hillary's going to make everything right. It's like, she don't know any better. Just vote Democrat. That's all she knows.
Yes.
And you ought to hear her. It's like, I don't get into it with her. I just, and then loves Rachel Maddow, hates Rush Limbaugh.
You've heard me say it. It's like it is a religion to them. Mm-hmm. For some people, the religion is the Bible or the Torah or the Koran. For others, it's the dogma of a political party. There really is no difference. It's the same basic thing. Same basic structure and feelings involved in the way people react. Doesn't matter if Hillary Clinton lights babies on fire on the White House lawn. These people will still support her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you got a bunch of you think that a woman just should be in the White House. She's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as she's the right woman to, put
yes,
in there.
I want one that's more experienced, smarter, and younger.
Heir to the throne.
Yeah, she's too fucking old. I'm sorry to say, but she is. Trump is edging in that direction too.
How old is Bernie Sanders? 150?
Yeah, he's way too old. I'm sorry, he is. But we cannot afford a president that may be, taken down by any kind of physical ailments and shit. And people who get older are. I mean, that's just a fact of getting older. And Hillary's had some fucking health problems too. I know damn well she has. When she was Secretary of State.
Does she have a brain tumor or something?
No, it wasn't not that I'm aware of, but she did some fainting episodes, shit like that. Maybe brought on by stress or something else, or just age. The fact of it is, their stamina is no longer there like it was when they were fucking 35 or whatever.
Look at us.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to hold up to some 20 or 30-year-olds.
Now, I don't say you should elect a president who's 20 or 30 years old, but you know what?
Yeah.
How about 45, 50, 55, around in there?
How old was Reagan when he went in?
He was in his 60s. And they gave him hell because they said he was too old. Now Hillary is older than he was. So is Trump.
How old are the two of them? I don't know.
Hillary, they're both in their 70s, early 70s. You know, we need vigorous leadership with new ideas. And I don't
think Trump is it, though.
For the new ideas, yeah, probably he has, only because not his ideas are different, but he has a different approach, a different attitude, a different management style that is completely the opposite of Barack Obama. You know, he doesn't blame other people for his fucking mistakes. He learns from his mistakes. I remember the comment he made to a reporter. He was asked about something. How come you didn't have a comment about this, Mr. Trump? Well, I don't know much about it, but the next time you ask me, I will. Which means he's going to go do his homework. You know, do a little research and find out about the issue and decide how he feels about it. That's a good attitude to have. He didn't say, well, I'm going to ask the party leadership, see what they say about it, you know? He didn't say that. Time for breaks. I felt that pulsing. Feel it?
They're actually not that...
They're thumping. You can feel bump, bump, bump.
Yeah, a little bit.
Something's warped a little bit in there. It's a pretty common thing.
Get the rotors turned, or...
These days they just replace them. Nobody turns rotors anymore.
So let's see. No movie night Saturday night. What time I'm coming? 7?
I guess.
Yeah,
That's the usual time, right?
Come by 7, yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, 7's good.
yeah, because when I'm talking to everybody, I'm going, no, that weekend is clear. That Sunday is clear. It's yeah, because I got certain dates I'm clearing, like Memorial Day weekend. I'm clearing that. That's what do you
See the
call
new
it?
gate?
Oh, nice. How new? Like
Today.
wow, it's not even 12 hours old.
No.
Shit.
It only took me 30 years to get the old man to put one there.
Yeah. We'll keep everybody out, right? Everybody's.
Yeah. The cash, you're not going to keep anybody out who wants to get in, but it'll stop people from just driving in there.
The average people, yeah.
You know, and
just-
biking in there and shit like that.
Yeah, because I see people come here all the time. Every time I wait up here, people are like, look around, you can tell, like, they're just looky-loos, you can tell.
I mean, we get an amazing number of people driving in. I thought that was where the yard was. You know, shit like that. And the next new gate's going to be up here.
Cool.
Not that there's anything to protect here anymore. It's pretty much empty, but...
Well, it's there, you know?
Yep.
Keep the bikers out.
Yep.
All right.
All right, Scott. 7 o'clock.
Yep. I'm all set for that. That's all. That's been cleared, and